It definitely gets intense.
Literally have been, I guess, following her.
Like, physically create the new Jesus. The nuns that he has used before, you think they remember? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
And theys and thems. This is Cafe
Critique.
Yes.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Cafe Critique. This is our series where me and Brittany Loudon review mostly movies, but movies,
shows,
possibly games, shows, anime, and if we even read a book together, we will review
would be
that.
So cute.
So this is episode 1, guys, and this is a movie episode.
Yes.
We just got back from watching the movie Immaculate.
Because it was immaculate. Just
I
you
would
don't know
say
yet.
otherwise.
You don't know yet.
How this is going to go is we're going to, first half, there are no spoilers.
None.
So people who still want to watch it, or maybe you are going to watch it, no spoilers in the first half. You will be warned halfway through, and that's when we'll get into the actual review.
Yeah.
We are not professional critics. This is purely opinion from both parties.
Mm-hmm. Both parties. Exactly.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, Celestino, what was the summary of Immaculate before we get into this? Like, give the audience
a spoiler-free summary of Immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, lead Sydney Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
I think she did amazing. Her acting was very good. The summary is, it is all centered around nuns.
Nuns.
A lot of Catholicism. Mm-hmm. Sydney Sweeney is a young nun who finds herself in a position to join a very prestigious, I guess, sister campus. Yeah, so we follow Sydney Sweeney as, this is a horror film. So
yeah, this is a horror film.
Yeah, we follow Sydney Sweeney, her name in the movie, Cecilia. We follow Cecilia through the story.
Oh, you're forgetting. Put some respect on her name. Sister Cecilia.
Sister Cecilia, or in Italiano, Sister Cecilia, because the C's are C's in Italian. You would know that if you watch the Something Cafe. We learned dirty phrases in Italian the other day. So, that is, what else is there to the summary?
Basically, we just follow her through navigating this new life. She doesn't really speak a lick of Italian. So. That comes later. Character development. And boy, oh boy, when I tell you guys, it gets a little crazy.
It definitely gets intense. What kind of horror subgenre would you say this is in?
The classic religious horror films, I would say. Yep. Like when you watch like The Exorcist, and there's a lot of like religion playing through that. I feel like that's where that kind of genre, subgenre.
It's a pretty good, like, there's a lot of horror films around religious concepts just because like it makes sense. Yeah. Like if you believe in Christianity or not culturally, like Satan is scary. The all being of evil, and obviously it's very easy to pull a horror film from that. So yeah.
Would it give you nightmares? That is the biggest thing. Would it give you nightmares?
What does it get on the nightmare scale?
Nightmare scale.
I think 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10?
4 out of 10, just because I'm kind of desensitized because I grew up on the internet, like
heard
stuff like I don't get scared that much about things that I see just because I am a little desensitized. But where does it land for you on the nightmare scale?
So they had me in the beginning, to be honest. I was like, freak, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna be like, oh, something's following me in the dark.
You're gonna pee your pants?
No, I would never pee my pants unless you were tickling me too hard. Then I will tell you I'm gonna pee my pants so you can get off of me. But
that went in a very weird place. I'm glad you guys were there with me for that one.
Yeah. When I was younger and I would watch like horror movies, I would never get scared ever. And now that I'm like older and I'm like, these things could like really happen.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
really happened to me, which is a weird concept, I would say, with being older, because you think when you're older, you're like, nothing's gonna scare me. And then you watch a horror movie and you're like, freak, I'm gonna go have nightmares like I'm a freaking 5-year-old.
Yeah. No, fair. Especially because, like, since we're adults, we're much more independent. Whereas, like, when we were kids, you know, we had mommy and daddy. We went back home to our Betty Weddy.
Betty Weddy.
You know, that kind of stuff. But now it's like, when you leave, I'm like, all I have is Lars. Well, we could do an overall rating right now.
Yeah, overall rating of the movie itself.
Let's do it out of, it seems a lot, but let's do it out of 100.
Out of 100?
A percentage.
I would give it like
just overall quality.
45%.
Really?
The only reason I do that is because, like, one of the biggest questions I'll give myself is, could I have spent my time doing something else and not have been sad that I didn't go to see that movie? And that's where it comes into play. You're like, okay, I went to go see that movie. Did it really change anything for me? Did it like give me that emotion that, like, I felt sad or I felt scared, or, you know, being that, like, you get that attachment to the movie, so you go home and all you do is think about it.
You wouldn't tell any about it, like, I just saw Immaculate.
Yeah, no. That's not something I would have done. 100% not.
What's a horror movie that you would have done that with?
Us. Us is by far one of the best horror films that I've seen come out recently.
I think that's a great reference to like rate movies on, is when I go home, am I going to text anybody about it?
Yeah.
Am I going to tell anybody about it at school tomorrow or at work tomorrow?
Yeah.
That's good. For me, honestly, I thought you were going to go much higher.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, just because I feel like you might have enjoyed it more than me. I would give it, I mean, mine's going to be lower than yours. I think I'm going to give it a 30.
Why is that?
A 30%. We haven't gotten to the spoiler zone yet, so I'm just going to say it's not a 0 because the story was kind of fun to follow. There were cool points to it. Some of the scenes were fun to watch, become, like, unravel. Watching Sweeney's character slowly kind of go from the innocent wannabe nun to the jaded kind of person when she realized what kind of evil was truly afoot.
That's a good
some mermaid man and barnacle boy lingo right there.
No, the only reason I say afoot is because of something that happened in the movie.
Nice. Yeah, I give it a 30, and the last reason really is because a lot of things did not get answered, and I get it. Not every movie needs to answer literally everything, you know? I think that could be a complaint for some movies, is that they have to go into everything. I think there is a bit of creativity and art to the ambiguity of certain things, but so many things happened that we just never learned why or what. And it just kept happening over and over and over again. So, for those of you who don't want to get spoiled,
goodbye.
We might want to say, stop here. We are now entering the spoiler zone.
Spoiler zone.
I definitely recommend coming back and hearing our thoughts.
Once you watch the movie.
Exactly, yes. Okay, things that we didn't learn. For example,
the freaking red mask nuns.
The red masks, what was the point of them?
What the Lars?
Look at how cute is Lars. Oh my gosh. So, there were these nuns with like red masks, and the first time we saw them was when Sweeney's character heard crying. She snuck out. She went downstairs, and she saw this nun weeping and praying on the floor. Mm-hmm. And then these red masked nuns started kind of following and watching her. And I think the only closure we got from the red masked nuns, I think that because why else would their face be red? Because the sister Isabella got her face ripped off. Remember that? When she fell and her whole face was ripped off?
So you think that the red mask, like, people...
has
like,
to do something with that.
I don't necessarily think so. I think that it's, like, has something to do... so we're, like, going to kind of jump into this.
Yeah, we're going to be...
everywhere with this.
Everywhere.
So the file that she went and grabbed, her own file, when they literally have been, I guess, following her and, like... wanted her specifically to come to their place and be a nun there.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it kind of like,
that's where the red mask people
I feel like
from?
that's where like the secret society type-esque, where it's like, they're higher ups than the higher ups.
Yeah.
But also, let's discuss the freaking father that was a secret freaking scientist. Like, what?
Yeah.
When he had the whole lair,
what? That was pretty cool just because in the first half of the movie, I mean, obviously you already know it's a horror movie, so you already know that something's about to go down. But there is an aura of everybody being innocent. The father's talking to Sweeney, like, I'm so happy you're here. We're all blessed to have you. I used to be a scientist, but then I've started following in the footsteps of God and faith. But really, that's just a really pretty way of saying it. The reason why he had to quit science was because he was trying to create
God,
the new Jesus.
Oh, my bad, Jesus.
Like physically create the new Jesus using embryos and all of that stuff.
But then when we get on to that point, they literally have one of the nails that what?
One of the nails that they drove through Jesus's hands and feet, they kind of revered it as obviously like a sacred item. And the reason why it was so important is we found out later that it had Jesus's DNA, bone shards on it, stuff like that. And that's why the crazy scientist guy was trying to do this, because he had that DNA, and he had all of these nuns, which are obviously women, put two and two together. It's really gross.
A playground.
Really gross.
For him to... But then, when we get onto that aspect, me and Celestina were discussing this on our way out of the movie theater. So, at one point, Sister Cecilia gets a burn on her foot of the cross, right? As a disciplinary action. But... also at the same time, earlier in the movie, we see one of the older sisters. So this place is for where the older sisters can like go along, be able to pass.
It's like a nun. It's a nun retirement home.
Yes, basically. So they still are like there, but the thing is that the newer nuns have to take care of them. So she one night, puts one of the sisters back to bed after the sister was creepily, upon her.
Cut some of her hair. Yeah,
cut some of her hair, but also like staring and breathing. That one scene where she like...
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah, I was creeped out by that. But when she puts her to bed and she has like the candle, which is so weird. They don't have lights there. They just have freaking candles.
But they have cell phones.
They have cell phones. Craziness. But so she shines the light on the foot, and there's another cross burn on this lady's foot. So the way I looked at it was that, that this father had tried to do it even on the older ladies when he probably first got there.
Maybe.
And so they also got disciplinary actions. But the thing is that, remember, he's bringing her into the like lair.
Yeah.
And it's all the mess ups. It's all the mess ups.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that he's just been using that place as a playground.
Now, why do you think the nuns that he has used before, do you think they remember? And if they do, wouldn't they? Because the thing is
that with Sister Cecilia's character, when she first gets there, she keeps telling them, like, she's trying to find out why God kept her alive or brought her back to life. So when they do that, it kind of puts her like in a position like trying to figure out who she is in the nun and Christian community.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's odd because, again, this is something that we are only speculating on. We don't
100%,
know
yeah.
if the cross. And can we just talk about the first ever scene of the movie?
Yeah,
was
that's
of this random nun that we hadn't met yet. Was it her friend in the beginning?
No. So
right?
here's how it.
Weird.
So that, I don't know if you remember, but she ended up getting buried alive.
The one from the first.
From the very beginning, she got buried alive. But the thing is that, funny enough, Sister Cecilia ends up in the exact same room. Remember when the painting falls and you literally get to see the writing on the wall?
Yes.
That was what, in the very beginning, where she was praying to.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
See?
I didn't recognize that.
Picking it up. Big braining.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. So that's where it's kind of like, it gives you the same like connection. Like, she wants to leave and she does. But the thing is that this place is like so messed up. Like these red mask people, they don't give a freak. They're like, you're staying here and you're going to stay here forever or you're going to die. Yeah.
And there was a turning point for Sweeney's character when she realized that she has to get out of there using violence. Mm-hmm. She had made friends with one person, but then that nun spoke up, because Sweeney got really hurt and this and that, blah, blah, blah. She spoke up, and then Sweeney peeped through the keyhole of a door and watched her friend get tortured.
Oh my gosh.
But then we never saw anything from that. We don't know where they put her. But here's also
I think we did though.
Fair,
she was in the catacombs.
Because she was was that her friend that was dead?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, the tongue was sticking out and it was cut out.
I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, dude, Whoa. It was insane.
I did not pick up on that. And then
it popped up in my brain that
I just saw a dead body.
No, the nuns use that. Okay, so
wow. Okay.
We're kind of missing. Fair. So in the beginning, the way that they describe this organizational house is that it's on top of these catacombs. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's for them to go and basically retire, which you had brought up. And yeah, I think we should definitely do a play-by-play, like you were saying. Yeah. Like the very first.
This is only the first episode.
My brain is a little.
Future episodes will get more formatic.
Yeah.
We're fine, but yeah.
We can go. So I think we should discuss the visuals and the visuals of it all.
The visuals were great.
Yeah.
I think they were good. I think on a scale of 10, I think the visuals would be like an 8 and like 8 or 9, because I mean, it is realistic fiction. Mm-hmm. All of this could happen, but obviously it didn't. There was a lot of violence and the makeup for it was great.
Oh, fantastic.
I think they did an amazing job. It wasn't cheesy. You couldn't tell it was fake. When they were smashing someone's head, you didn't see like the green rind of a watermelon. No, it was really good. And then there was one nun, Sister Isabel, who was very, 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 very jealous of Cecilia, because basically the and I don't even think we explained this. So basically, Cecilia, we talked about the mad scientist trying to recreate the new Jesus, and what we forgot to mention was that it was Cecilia who he made pregnant, and it was a big deal because Cecilia started getting sick. She started throwing up. No one knows why, and then all of a sudden, the doctor was like, these are signs of a pregnancy, so they hit her with an ultrasound. Cecilia didn't know that, right? And then they brought Cecilia into this kind of conference room with like the heads of the whole estate, and they were pressing her with questions. Have you stuck to your vows? Have you been faithful? Have you not had intercourse? Blah blah blah. And Cecilia's like, of
course not.
Obviously, I haven't done any of this. Blah 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 blah. And then they all started all of the higher ups started getting like visibly excited and shocked, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the second coming of Jesus." Christ. right? And now, because just like the Virgin Mary in the Bible, right?
Which I thought they did really good.
They did that.
So they have a congregation looking up at Sister Cecilia as she literally looks exactly like Virgin Mary.
Yep.
Just insane.
And that whole scene, right? She was like crying.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show that that was the first kind of exposition of her being uncomfortable with this newfound role. A couple scenes follow that of her just walking to certain places and everybody basically like stopping in their place and like saluting her, like bowing to her. When she came to the dining hall, everybody stood up and didn't sit down until she sat down, and she was obviously very uncomfortable with this. But
during all of that, we still had the two people, Isabella, and then the other one that was jealous.
No, Isabella and the friend wasn't jealous.
No. So I'm pointing out that both of them didn't rise or sing during this congregation. They both were very pointed out like characters, because then you knew something was going to happen, because the friend, with her not getting up and everything like that, she's like, we just got here. How are you pregnant?
Yeah,
like, what?
It's not that the friend was jealous. She was just like, I'm already best friends with Cecilia. I'm not gonna treat her like a queen.
Yeah,
Cecilia doesn't even want to be treated like a queen.
No.
And something just snapped, dude. I think I know why.
Why?
In the Bible, when Jesus was hung up on the cross, there were two other people hung up with him. There was two bandits, one on the left and one on the right. They were crucified at the exact same time as Jesus was. Two bandits, both had sinned. Both are being killed for their sins. One of them started asking Jesus for forgiveness on the cross. Both of them, both Jesus and this crook, were on the cross. The crook was asking Jesus for forgiveness. Jesus said, do you believe the Father is this and that? And the bandit said, please, Jesus, forgive me for my sins. And Jesus said, you shall come to the same home that I shall arrive at. The bandit on the other side was very, I wouldn't say jealous, but very, just not, he didn't believe it. He was just all kind of just like bad mouthing and blah, blah. How come you blah, blah, blah. And he did not go to heaven. Isabella is the crook that did not believe and did not atone for his sins. The friend is the crook that stuck with Jesus, even though the crook did bad things. The crook at the very end asked for forgiveness for his sins, and Jesus allowed it. And Cecilia, being the bearer of the new Jesus, this so-called new Jesus, and they both died just like the crooks both died.
Heard. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I just drew that conclusion.
No, literally, when you think about it, and
I just drew that conclusion. Wow. And another thing. Okay, so skipping literally all the way to the end.
the demon baby.
So Cecilia escapes the clutches of this evil scientist guy that she tried to blow up. They're chasing through the catacombs, Tom and Jerry style. And she finally escapes him. She kills him. She crawls through this hole outside. And all of a sudden, there's this like 5-minute scene of the camera right up on her face. And she's screaming. Very, very good scene.
Yeah,
very good.
Fantastic scene.
Very good acting. And it's genuinely 5 whole minutes of nothing but it zoomed in on her face screaming. She births the baby. The baby falls out. She's standing. She births the baby. She's in a lot of pain. She picks up a giant rock and
you're forgetting
what
she literally bites the umbilical cord.
She grabs the umbilical cord just.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then she is obviously in a lot of pain. She limps over to this rock. We don't get to see this baby.
No.
Which is another thing of ambiguity.
We do get to see like, outline? Like an outline, but like it wasn't
It was like a big,
like
it was like a blob.
it was a blob, but it was a different color. Like
scary.
It was not a like color of a baby.
But here is the parallel I'm about to draw. So with Cecilia being a woman and being the metaphorical Mary in this sense, / God, right? Because Mary gave birth to God's son. Cecilia gave birth to that priest's creature son.
Yeah.
And then killed her son just like God killed his son.
That's crazy.
Wow. That kind of made the movie better. Honestly,
in your brain?
I think I'm going to go up to...
Wait, I think we should save our like new ratings.
Yeah.
Like,
good. Okay, so that was my point I wanted to hit that I just realized right now.
Well, that kind of brings us into the storytelling.
Okay.
That makes the storytelling 100% better.
It really does. And again, it's not that this is for sure, but come on. I mean, all of those parallels that I just drew with the actual Bible, that does up my storytelling points.
Well, dang, we already hit the ending. Mm-hmm. That was a crazy ending.
Really crazy ending.
As soon as the movie ends, Celestino's like, it's over?
Seriously.
That was it? Really?
I don't like ambiguous endings. It's very rare for me to enjoy an ambiguous ending.
But the thing is that like how we're doing right now, we're sitting and talking about it. That's what it's meant for you to do, is to really think about it after the fact.
Yeah. It just kind of felt like the whole movie was just like you go to Thanksgiving and you fill up your plate with like 7 different foods and you leave like 1 ounce of every kind of food left on your plate and you put it back. You enjoyed all the different foods. We enjoyed all these different plot points, but there was never that satisfaction of like, okay,
I'm full.
like
finished.
That's good. That one's finished. That one's done. That one's wrapped up. And again, that could just be an artsy fartsy thing that they were going for, but personally, it wasn't my favorite.
Now, coming to these realizations, how would you go from 30% to your next rating?
I mean, again, it's still going to be low. My cafe critique of Immaculate. Also, what does that title mean? What did it have to do with the movie? That is
so true. I'm over here like...
I think what they were... Because they never say the word immaculate.
And during the whole entire movie,
but
never.
I think the definition of immaculate is perfect and well. Basically a synonym of perfect. Well, maybe synonym.
They're trying to connect it to
exactly.
Jesus.
Jesus is the perfect human, the perfect man. And they were trying to make Cecilia...
I just had a thought.
Hit me, baby.
Why? What if that is why the main focus was on her during the whole movie, to kind of like bring it full circle here with the points that you had just made. The whole entire focus was about Virgin Mary, right? Mm-hmm. So we got Sister Cecilia, but then you have like a little bit of worship towards Jesus, which if Jesus is a perfect person, then that would make the movie name Immaculate.
Fair.
So that
I'm with you half.
That's kind of like a loose idea out there, but that's,
I think the title Immaculate, I think that just directly refers to that scientist pastor trying to make
the most perfect being,
the most perfect second Jesus, the most immaculate son of God, big air quotes, because obviously it's not the son of God. No. So my overall score on the my cafe critique of Immaculate goes from a 30% to a 38%.
Wow. Give it a round of applause.
I can't give it a 40, but because of the parallels I just drew, because I'm so smart, I would give it a 38%. What is your cafe critique?
So my cafe critique of Immaculate is still the same. It's 45%, to be honest.
Okay. And now we're going to get the average of that. We're going to put it on the screen right now.
Yeah.
That is the official official, unprofessional cafe critique of the movie Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney.
Yes.
There you have it, folks. Episode 1 of the cafe critique. I'm glad you guys stuck with us. Be patient with us.
Yes.
This is really exciting. This is only the beginning. This is the first basically sub-series off of the Something Cafe brand. We don't have a schedule for this. We think we're just gonna upload as we watch movies.
If you watch the movie Immaculate, please in the comments let us know
if we're wrong.
If you relate to any of the opinions that we have, how
right.
you thought it was, and also give your Something Cafe critique.
Yeah, give it your own cafe critique, and we hope to catch you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for stopping by the Something Cafe critique. And we will see you all later. I've been Celestino Dooley.
And I'm Brittany Loudon.
Thank you for coming by. See ya.
See ya.